Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're talking about financial valuation. And look, I know that can sound a little dry, all spreadsheets and numbers, but it's so much more than that. It's really a mindset. It's a discipline. And honestly, it might just be the most important life vest you'll ever have as an investor.
So let's just jump right in with a pretty powerful question, right? Are you an investor or are you a lemming? Because this really gets to the core of why valuation matters so much. In the world of investing, there's this constant, almost magnetic pull to just follow the crowd.
You know, these might just be the 7 most deadly words in all of investing. It's that tiny voice in the back of your mind. You see a stock just going to the moon. Everyone's piling in, and that voice whispers, they must know something you don't. It's the voice that tempts you to abandon your own research and just join the herd, even when that herd is sprinting towards a cliff. So what does this lemming's dilemma actually feel like in the real world? Well, it's that pit in your stomach when a meme stock is doubling every day and you feel this insane urge to jump on board. It's that fear of missing out, right? Of being the only person you know who doesn't own the hot new thing. It's just that powerful gut feeling that the crowd has to be right.
You know, when it comes to this herd mentality, most investors fall into one of 3 buckets. First up, you've got the proud lemming. This is the momentum investor who basically says, hey, if the crowd is buying, I'm buying. Simple as that. Then there's the Yogi Bear lemming, who thinks they're smarter than the average lemming. They try to ride the wave right up to the very edge and then jump off just before it crashes. Risky stuff. And then finally you have the rational lemming. This is the person who uses valuation as their tool for independent thinking.
And that right there brings us to the whole point of this explainer. See, valuation isn't really about finding some magical, precise price target for a stock. It's about building a defense mechanism against that herd instinct. It is your investing life vest.
Just think about that for a moment. Its whole purpose is to be an anchor. So when the market is going crazy and that little voice in your head is screaming, follow them, your valuation gives you something solid, something logical to hold on to. It gives you a reason to either stand your ground or make a move based on your work, not on everyone else's panic.
And let's be totally honest here, this is not a magic wand. You're still going to make mistakes, but the real goal of valuation is to slow the process down. It forces you to take a breath. It creates this little space where your rational brain has a fighting chance to make an argument against that impulsive, emotional part of you that just wants to chase the herd.
But, okay, even with a life vest on, you're not totally safe. There are these 3 huge traps out there, kind of like a Bermuda Triangle for investors, that can sink your analysis before you even get started. And interestingly, they have nothing to do with bad math.
The first and maybe the biggest danger is bias. We almost never start from a neutral position. If you're already in love with a company, guess what? Your valuation is probably going to find a way to prove it's a great buy. If your job depends on a deal going through, your valuation will magically support the right price. The conclusion is often baked in before you even open the spreadsheet.
Bias is just so incredibly powerful that you can often guess the result of a valuation simply by knowing who paid for it. Is it a sell-side analyst who needs to keep a buy rating on a stock? An investment banker trying to make a merger happen? The motive, it absolutely shapes the math.
All right, the second trap is treating valuation like it's a hard science, like physics or something. It's not. It's really more of an art. Every single input, from future cash flows to growth rates, is just an educated guess about the future. And the future, as we all know, is fundamentally uncertain. Thinking your model is objective reality is a huge mistake.
But here's the really cool paradox about all this uncertainty. The companies that are the hardest to value, the young, fast-growing ones, the unpredictable businesses, that's often where the biggest opportunities are hiding. Why? Because most investors just give up. It's too hard. So if you can push through that discomfort, the potential reward is just that much bigger.
And the final corner of our Bermuda Triangle is complexity. Oh, it is so easy to fall into this trap, to build these massive, beautiful spreadsheets with hundreds of inputs. But what happens is these models just become black boxes. You have no idea what's actually driving the final number, and it just becomes a classic case of garbage in, garbage out. So the key takeaway here is to be parsimonious. In other words, less is more. The best valuations are often the simplest ones. They focus on the 2 or 3 things that truly matter and ignore the rest of the noise. Simplicity forces clarity.
Okay, so we know the dangers to watch out for. How do we actually do a valuation? Well, it turns out there are 3 main toolkits, or philosophies, and each one is built on a totally different idea about how the market actually works.
So these approaches really break down into 3 camps. First, you've got intrinsic valuation. This is like being a financial detective, trying to figure out a company's true worth based on its future cash flow. It's a lot of work and you need a long time horizon. Then there's relative valuation. This is way simpler. It's like pricing your house by just looking at what the other houses on your street sold for. You're basically trusting the market is right on average, but maybe wrong about this one company. And finally, there's option pricing. This is a very specialized tool for unique assets, like a biotech patent, where the value is either going to be huge or zero, depending on one specific event.
So, whether you're a detective doing intrinsic value or you're pricing houses with relative value, no matter which approach you choose, they are all built on one single unifying idea.
And that is the entire reason we're even having this conversation. Think about it. If markets were always perfect, if the price was always the correct value, there would be absolutely no point in doing a valuation. The whole field exists for one reason, because we believe that price and value can be two very different things, and our job as investors is to find those differences.
And that brings us right back around to where we started. All the spreadsheets, all the models, they're just tools. Tools to serve that one fundamental purpose we talked about, to slow you down, to create that pause, that moment of reflection, so your rational side has a chance to put up a fight against the emotional pull of the herd.
And that really is the ultimate question. Valuation isn't just an academic exercise. It's a discipline. It's the training you do to prepare for that moment of truth. It's about having something real to hold on to so you can make your own decisions in your own time and for your own reasons.